Is it time for recess yet? I'm so glad you found time to join us here on the Child Care Director's Chair, where Erica Sacoccio shares her best practices that she's refined through her passion of directing childcare centers over the last 23 years. From parenting interaction, systems to save you time, money, and stress, to profitability. She shares it all from the Child Care Director's Chair.
Hey, welcome back. We're so happy that you tuned in today. And this is going to be the second of a series of episodes that I really wanted to do around working with toddlers. And I know you might say, well, gee, seems really odd to have on our show because we typically talk about running the business of childcare, and we talk about hiring staff, and we talk about budgets, and we talk about making a profit and how to select toys and all the day-to-day kind of behind the scenes operations. But I think that we all can agree that finding great toddler teachers are like finding magical unicorns. And so I am on this quest to really help support all of our staff, of course, but really the uniqueness that comes with being a toddler teacher. We know that toddler classrooms are always bustling, and managing behaviors such as aggression, defiance, and attention-seeking behaviors are very common. However, with the right techniques and strategies, your teachers can really create a positive and nurturing environment that promotes healthy social and emotional development. But they need your help. They need your support. They need your guidance. They need you to hop in when they need you to hop in, when they need 5, when they need time to prep, all those things they need you for. And then also, of course, your guidance. So I want to give you the tools that will allow you to help your toddler team. So we're coming up today with some effective techniques that will help manage these behaviors, providing your teachers with valuable tools to ensure a harmonious and productive toddler classroom. And let's face it, as a leader, if your toddler classroom is not running well, you know about it because your teachers are complaining, your teachers are calling out, your parents are upset because we're not, meeting their expectations. And then you end up with a lot of turnaround, which then, of course, causes even more problems. So let's get into it. The first thing is we want to make sure that we establish clear expectations. By setting clear and age-appropriate expectations from the beginning, it really does help toddlers understand boundaries and acceptable behavior. So one example would be if toddlers love to take off their shoes. If you allow 1 or 2 toddlers to take off their shoes, the next thing you know, you'll have a whole classroom of toddlers taking off their shoes, right? So you want to be clear with the expectations, and we want to use cues both verbally, picture cues, however you can communicate with your students frequently, consistently, and again, age appropriate, because toddlers, 2-year-olds are not the new 5-year-olds, right? We can't have the same expectations that we do for preschool children in a toddler room. And I know you and I might say, well, of course not, but do entry-level teachers know that? I've heard it a lot. They don't sit. I can't do circle. Correct. You probably can't do circle in the way that you do it. Well, we know you can't do it the way that you would do with older students. So making sure that everybody in the room understands the expectations and making sure that they are appropriate for children of that age and be realistic what you expect from them. You also want to make sure that you create a structured routine. A consistent daily routine really does provide toddlers with a sense of security and predictability, and it reduces their need for attention-seeking behaviors. And, I think a couple things. When a teacher is out, it's so important to make sure that the daily schedule is all written out, it's posted, the curriculum that they need to do for the day is all there for your substitute teacher. So again, the children have that predictability, that consistency of care. So making sure that that is the same every day, because then that gives children cues. They start to know that after we eat snack, next we go outside. And that helps reduce some of the issues that you have. If there's not that predictability there, then you're going to have some other issues. So making sure that that consistent care in daily routines is there. Now, unfortunately, in Rhode Island, we had a lot of rain this summer. So we knew that there were going to be days we were not going to be able to get outside. And so that may throw the children off a little bit. So we have to be proactive and know that we're going to need to do some types of activities that really get all that extra energy out. So we knew we were probably going to have to move tables, pull out the tunnel, pull out the parachute, do some freeze dancing and dancing around, dance party. Not really freeze dance, but, dancing around. And we knew we were going to have to do some high energy types of activities. So be prepared when you know that there's going to be some type of change in the daily routine to the best of your ability. You want to use positive reinforcement. And the other thing that I see that really happens with a lot of entry-level teachers is they're so reactive. They're so drawn into stop running, get off the shelf, put on your shoes. He had that first. All they're doing is reacting. You really need to make sure that you are acknowledging and rewarding the positive behaviors that you want to see in your classroom. And it could be done in a variety of ways. Some folks really love to do, praise. Others like to use words like, you should be proud of yourself, or I know you're proud of yourself, and giving the child some ownership in their feelings. Also, you can do stickers, you can do charts, you can do student of the week. There's a variety of ways that you can do it. But the bottom line is you really just want to encourage toddlers to repeat the behaviors and minimize defiance. Now, and then also remember that is it defiance, or is it the child's need to be independent and their need to be able to understand the things around them? And that might mean they need to touch the things. They need to climb on them. They need to, they haven't figured out that shelf isn't really meant to climb on. So this is where we use that rewarding positive behaviors when they are sitting in the chair, when they are, using the materials the right way. You have to make sure that you are recognizing that. And it could be verbally, it could be nonverbal, it could be a big smile, it could be a thumbs up. But make sure that you're doing as much of that positive reinforcement and a lot less of that reactive stop, running, stop. It's all negative. You want to also offer choices. Giving toddlers limited choices empowers them and reduces defiance. For example, would you like to play with blocks, or would you like to read a book? So giving them the choice and giving them choices that they can make. Because I've also heard many, many times where you ask a child a question and you give them choices and one of them is not really a choice. And then you're upset and the child's upset when they pick a choice that you didn't want them to pick. So make sure that the options that you give to the child are ones that they can actually do. You want to make sure that you're also providing individual attention. Offering one-on-one time with each toddler helps fulfill their need for attention, and it reduces that attention-seeking behavior. It's very easy if you're not paying attention to sit down with a child or two and read a book and go through the book and spend some time with them, which is wonderful. But be aware of your time and how you're spreading it throughout the classroom. Be aware of who you are giving your feelings to, meaning your smiles, your thumbs up, your great job, Susie, right? All those things. Be aware to make sure that you are offering that to all the students in your classroom. And that really does help build those relationships and bonds. And sometimes, my staff get upset with me when I walk in a room and I'm able to say to someone, put on your shoes, and they instantly put on their shoes. And, the teacher had been trying for 20 minutes and it makes them feel frustrated. And I understand. But when I walk in the room, I do it in a way, first of all, I have a relationship with the children. I make sure I build a relationship with all the students. That's very, very important to me. But I do it in a way as though they understand that is the expectation. It's not really negotiable. And then we find something else to do that's fun. So it might be, if you put on your shoes, we can go and read a book. I know you really liked the book that we read yesterday. I'd be happy to sit down and go through it with you. Would you like to do that? Okay, let's get your shoes on first. That's an example. So teaching toddlers appropriate ways to express their emotions is super important, such as using words or drawings, helping manage aggression and defiance when they're upset, having some tools within the classroom where children can easily identify how they're feeling. So I think that's probably, for me, one of the really bigger things is helping children identify what they're feeling, because sometimes they're not sure. They just know they're upset. They know that they're mad, but they don't know how to tell you why they're mad. Teach problem-solving skills and help the toddlers develop problem-solving skills by guiding them through conflicts and encouraging them to find solutions together. And again, make it age appropriate, because when we talk about toddlers, that's such a big range, and there's so many developmental changes that happen from the span of a young toddler to an older toddler. So, really be mindful of the age of the child and the best way to handle that. Using visual cues such as picture charts or pictures and charts help toddlers understand and remember classroom rules and expectations. Now, they certainly can't read, so it's very easy to have just a picture of the playground or a picture of lunchtime, right? So these things will help children understand what's next. And they really can do that at a pretty young age. They're really smart. They comprehend pretty quickly. You want to implement time for children to calm down when they need to calm down. Make sure you have a safe space in your classroom, something that is warm and cuddly. It shouldn't feel like a negative place, almost like a place that they would want to go. But it helps them to be able to calm down and reflect on their behavior as much as a toddler can. And it should be very, very brief. The child will let you know when they're ready to come out of that area. And it should be the child who goes into that area on their own. So you can use words like, I can see you're really upset. Would you like to go sit over in the cushion area, or would you like to go over and sit with a reading buddy? So give a few choices. And at our school, reading buddies are stuffed animals in a bin that children can have in the reading area. Again, just gives a little bit more softness to the area, along with the couches, the rugs, and mats and those types of things. So have a few areas within your classroom where children can select from. Another thing that helps children when they're really upset too is things that they can fidget, like Play-Doh or fidget toys, or, just make sure that they're big enough that they don't pose a choking hazard. But I do find that working with Play-Doh or clay types of materials where children can manipulate, they really do like that, and it does help them calm down. And also teaching children some maybe breathing techniques and calming techniques so that they can self-soothe themselves. You want to foster peer relationships and encourage positive interactions and friendships among toddlers. It promotes social skills, and it reduces that attention-seeking behaviors. And a lot of times the children will help each other, which I absolutely love. It makes my heart melt when they do that. I also love when a friend comes into the classroom that they've been waiting to see. Maybe it's a child who gets dropped off a little bit later in the morning. They get so excited, and they're like, Susie's here, Susie's here. So it's really nice when you can encourage those positive interactions and friendships among the toddlers. And make sure that we have lots of different sensory activities. Engaging toddlers in sensory activities such as sand and water play can really help redirect their energy, and that will also help reduce that aggression and frustration. Again, keeping their fingers and engaged and their minds engaged and being able to manipulate things just does such a calming effect on the toddlers, even adults, to be quite honest. I mean, adults walk around with stress balls. It's the same thing. So toddlers really need that. It really does help get out that, energy out of their body. I've also noticed that some of our toddlers really like to do some heavy work, meaning they like to, pick up things that are, somewhat heavy, like hollow blocks or, larger trucks. That does help them as well. And then using redirection. Redirecting a toddler's attention to a different activity or object can often help prevent or diffuse challenging behaviors. If you see that there are 4 children at the water table and child number 5 is going to just throw everything up in the air and it's going to cause a problem, then maybe you can either open up another sensory bin, or I have buckets, almost like wash basins, if you will. So I have some extras that I can give some children individual time at a water station or a sand station where they don't have to be at the larger station. So, do different things like that, which will really help in those situations where you need to give a child a little bit more attention and kind of redirect them. Make sure that you are communicating clearly using simple and concise language when giving instructions or explaining consequences helps toddlers understand the expectations. Model appropriate behavior. Toddlers learn by observing, so modeling appropriate behavior is so important when managing aggression, defiance, and attention seeking. And also think about when you're talking, right? When you're passing things out, or you're doing so, please and thank you, and using each other's names. And even when the teachers are talking to each other, making sure that you are talking in a way that is clear and kind, and in a way that helps children understand how people communicate with each other. Offering breaks, allowing short breaks during group activities, give toddlers a chance to recharge, and it also reduces the likelihood of challenging behaviors. So, again, just like I said before, you can't expect young toddlers to sit for a long time. You can't expect them to tend to circle for a long time. And then meet each child where they are individually. If you have some children who can tend to a task a little bit longer, that's great, and have them continue to do that. But the other children who are not able to, do the activities in shorter spurts, and that will help reduce frustration. And encourage physical activity. So much physical activity in a toddler classroom. It's funny to say encourage more of it, but the toddlers just need to release energy in a positive way. So as many times as you can with movement activity. I do find that when you're doing circle or group time together, the more that it involves movement and interaction and songs and finger plays, the more excited the kids get, the more attention that they pay to what's going on, and it really helps with, you won't have to redirect as much. Collaborating with parents, maintaining open communication with parents allows for consistency between home and school. It also helps reinforce behavior and management techniques so that all the adults are on the same page. And sometimes there is that need to reach out for professional support. If challenging behaviors persist, involving a child psychologist or behavioral specialist can provide additional guidance and support. And at our center, we have several children that do have additional supports that come in. Some are daily, some come in once a week, some come in once a month, and others just create a plan and give us the plan and say, here are the tools, here are the strategies, and we implement them. And if we get, stuck, then we contact them and we kind of work through it and see what needs to be modified. And practice patience. Managing behaviors in a toddler classroom requires patience and understanding. And remember that each child is unique and may require different approaches. And often reflect and get with your team and say, hey, what's working, what isn't, and how can I help? Because again, as the leader of the program, they're looking to you for that guidance. And you better do it. Like you just have to be there for them. You can't expect them to be there for you. Reciprocal is my absolute favorite word, and relationships should be reciprocal in your center. You give to them and they give to you. And, that I would say on that note, we'll wrap up this episode. I love to hear if you have some other techniques that you use with your staff in the toddler room. I would definitely say looking at their schedule and maybe giving them either shorter shifts or a break in the middle of the day. And I don't mean their lunch break, but a break in the middle of the day, even if it's for a half hour where they can work on something other than working with students, something that's productive. It could even be you switch spaces with them and let them go through the wait list or let them answer the messages from the parents or check the emails or, whatever you feel comfortable in letting them do. But I think that when you do those types of things, it really will make your team respect you. It really will help them manage their own challenges in the classroom and make you guys be a team. So with that, I'll say good night. Thank you for tuning into the Child Care Director's Chair. This has been your host, Erica Scocchio. Thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you tomorrow.
Well, all the cute little kiddos have been picked up and it's time to go home. And that'll do it for another episode of the Child Care Director's Chair. Please leave a review so Erica knows the information is helping you to manage and improve your childcare centers. Remember to subscribe to get the latest episode from Erica's Child Care Director's Chair.